Welcome to Data Studio 101. My name is Abhinav and I'm here to help you get started, become really comfortable, start creating some cool looking dashboards, reports, and gain insights from your data using Google's Data Studio. If you are new to this channel, make sure you check out the previous episodes where we talked about Data Studio as a tool and connecting to a dataset. Also make sure that you've subscribed to the channel and check out this online discussion forum which we have set up for all the learners who are becoming a part of this journey. You will be able to have meaningful conversations with other peers who are also learning through this course. In the previous episode, we talked about how do you connect to a data source. We used a dataset that was stored in Google Sheets. You will find the link to that Google Sheet in the description below. Please make a copy of that Google Sheet and start building your reports. In this episode, we are going to start creating the very first chart of our report using the dataset that we connected to in the last episode and see how we can make that blank looking canvas colorful and insightful. So let's get started with episode number 3, creating your first chart. Alright, so in the previous episode, we saw how when we connected Google Sheets to a report, it automatically created a random chart with region and record count as the column or the metric. In this episode, we are going to actually start creating our first chart using all the different chart options that are available. But before that, let's talk about the magic panel, where all the magic happens. In the magic panel, as you can see, currently the dimension is region, across which we are looking at a metric called record count. Now for us, we want to really see how many orders were placed across different regions, which basically means that our dimension will still remain a region, but our metric will now change to the count of order IDs. And as explained in the previous episode, the dataset has different order IDs, and counting the distinct values of order IDs will provide us with the order volume across any dimension that we can choose from the dataset. So for the purpose of this episode, I'm going to use the count of order IDs to see how many orders were placed across regions or countries. Let's go ahead and search for order ID as a field in the list of fields available. So you just hit the metric pill and start typing order, and I see that the second option in this list is order ID. As soon as I click on it, it sums up all the order IDs by region, because as I said, the default aggregation falls back to being a sum. But what we really want is a distinct count of all the order IDs. All you have to do is hover on top of your metric pill and you will see a pencil icon which suggests that this is editable. And there are various aggregations that are available. From this list, I'm going to select count distinct. As soon as you do that, the number of orders across different regions is added to your table. At the same time, while you are here, you can start naming your fields. I'm going to just name it order volume. I know that this is a type number and I do not want to change it into percentage or duration. But if you come across a metric that should be represented as a percentage or maybe a currency, you can always select those options from here. You also have the option to add comparison calculation. For example, you want to see how many orders were placed in Europe relative to the entire world. That is all possible by just selecting the appropriate option from the comparison calculation menu. There's also multiple options available in the running calculation section that you can choose from. Let's hit the canvas again and see what our orders look like across different regions. Just for the purpose of this episode, I'm going to replace region as a dimension with country. I have two options. I can either click on region in the dimension section and switch it to country, or the beauty of Data Studio is to have drag and drop fields, which is very easy to play with. I can literally just drag country on top of region and it'll get replaced. And now I will get a count of orders by country. So this was just to make you familiar with the magic panel. Now we really want to start creating our very first chart. And for the purpose of this exercise, we are going to create a chart which will have order volume by date. Let's start with a blank canvas and actually go through the process of creating your first chart. In the menu, you have an option called Add a Chart. From this section, you have multiple charts that are available that you can select from. I'm going to select a bar chart. I'm just adding this chart on the canvas. The dimension now, I'm going to select order date, and in the metric, I'm again going to select order ID. Very simple, right? Every time you want to see a preview of the report, you have to go to the top right and hit the view button, and this is what your viewers or users of the report will see. But again, the order ID is getting summed up, which is why your order volume is to the tunes of 20 billion. So I go back to the metrics section and change it to count distinct and name it order volume. Now I see that on a daily basis, about 30 to 40 orders were being placed. Now in this chart, the y-axis represents the metric, which is the volume of orders, and the x-axis is dates. I wanted to look at the volume of orders across dates, which is why date became the dimension in this case. And the metric was the number of orders being placed on each of the dates. If you were to change the chart type, all you have to do is go to the magic panel and select from this drop down, which has all the chart styles available. So if you were to change this to a stacked column chart, you can just hit on the stacked column chart icon and it will automatically select one of the dimensions to break down the columns by. It chose country to be the breakdown dimension, and the chart is now showing the volume of orders by date in all the countries on a particular day. And to keep it simple, I'm going back to a regular bar chart. Now let's talk about styling this chart so that you can customize it based on how you want the report to look, maybe with your favorite colors. Let's go to the magic panel, and as you can see, there are two tabs available. First one is data, which is all about what metrics you want to see across what dimensions, how do you want to sort them, how do you want to filter them. And the second tab is around styling, which is where you can control everything about the chart as it relates to the looks of the chart. So when I come here, I have options such as show data labels. As soon as I hit that, the data labels will start showing up so that it becomes easier for your viewers or users of the report to see how many units were sold on a particular day instead of hovering on top of a particular bar. At the same time, you can change the colors of the bars. Just as an example, I can make this all yellow. There is another option here called add a reference line. For example, I wanted to just see how many orders were placed on an average in this given time period. I can just select metric here of the order volume and let the calculation be at average, show a label. There's another dashed line that appeared on the chart right now, which is the reference line, and you can add many more reference lines if you want to. But this sort of serves as a really good indicator if you are looking at days when your order volume was going above the average, which basically means that your store did really good. In the style section, you also have the option to start showing axis title so that it's very clear to your viewer that they are looking at a particular metric and what that metric really is. So this is what our chart looks like at the end. You have order date, which is not arranged correctly, and you have on the y-axis the metric, which is the units sold on a particular day, and a reference line which tells you what's the average volume of the units that are being sold in that time period. In the next episode, we are going to learn adding filters to this report, and also how do we sort the data using different values that are available on the chart. We will check out how can we make these charts interactive so that they become more fun to work with. Alright, that's the end of creating your first chart. Please leave your feedback in the comments section below. And do not forget to make use of the online discussion forum and have conversations with other students who are also learning visualization using Google's Data Studio. And now it's time for Try This Out. In this section, I'll give you a problem which will help you try the skills that you learned today and become more comfortable and warmed up for the episodes to come. Use the same Google Sheet data and try creating other type of charts from the magic panel. The Try This Out exercise for this episode is to try creating other charts using the same Google Sheet data source by selecting different types of charts that are available in the chart selection panel. See what problems you face while creating these charts, if the data gets represented correctly or not. Do not forget to post your questions on the online discussion forum. This is an area with no limits. Students can go to any extent and do a lot of creative stuff to make their reports look beautiful. So please join the learning community and let's learn better together. I'll see you in the next episode where we are going to discuss about filtering and sorting and how do we make our charts interactive so that these reports become exciting to even play around with. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and show your support to this community that's trying to learn better together.